Greetings, community. It's Kevin of NCBD Comics, and I'm here to bring you another edition of Kevin's most anticipated reads tomorrow for New Comic Book Day. That will be 6/26/2024. And hey, once more, I want to appreciate Las Cruces for showing on up and then on first. And right behind him is Christina. And together they make a wonderful pair dancing. Look at that. Of course, it's difficult because we're in two completely different states. So, hey, you know, the commute was well worth it. Just kidding. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I know I'm a little bit earlier than normal, but hey, at the same point, we got a huge listing, coming out for New Comic Book Day. As far as all the lists are concerned, there's, oh my God, there's a list. We got quite a bit of books coming out, and you know, I guess reality not only hit me hard earlier, but it actually was the stupidity that hit me at the same point. I knew it was coming. I knew summer was going to bring a lot of books. I knew on average that I was doing about 25 books per week, meaning different titles, not just books. And I knew that it was just getting extensive. So when I end up compiling this list, I'm like, wait, seriously? I went back over it. I'm like, oh, wow. Really? Am I getting all these? Already pre-bought. So, hey, look, before I just get into this long list again, I want to say thank you, everybody, that decided to cruise on in on the live and those in which decided to cruise on in on the rewind. Let's get to the list and starting it off. We're going to talk about Dark Horse. Dark Horse is going to bring us Blue Book, 1947, issue number 5. I believe this might be finishing it out as far as this miniseries is concerned. This is the second volume. I've been enjoying it quite extensively. The idea and the premise behind this is it's giving you Tynion's view on the Project Blue Book works in which that was released by the federal government, CIA and FBI, and those in which that were in certain operatives during the time. It's not a conspiracy thing. Actually, this information was released. And it was just information compiled by the government in the times in which that there was also a heavy amount of experiments being done by the Air Force, by the Navy, and just by everyone, both in the Cold War on both sides, and just a lot of research and development was being done. That's not that this, how should I say that there wasn't anything and in a way dismiss any reportings of anything that were not necessarily terrestrial. I'm not saying that. What I am getting at is this information is out there, and it does speak about, well, what seems about non-terrestrial vehicles. And that is your Project Blue Book in its entirety. What I've been enjoying about this second volume is it's getting a little bit less about, I guess, what's necessarily transpiring as much as how it affects the individuals that it's transpired to. It's been really interesting, and it's actually, again, got me into an area, a field that I would never entertain as far as make curiosity and look into these type of reports. So, hey, Tynan, you did a great job not only roping me in on a book I would normally not be reading, but also giving me questions that I'd not normally be asked. And hey, as far as an author is concerned, you freaking did your job. Not only sold the book, but you got me thoroughly entertained and got me questioning things. So, hey, Project Blue Book, 1947, issue number 5 coming out 6/26/2024. Dude, I appreciate you being here, buddy. And did I just see that? I saw some eyeballs lurking around. Be like all this all over the way. Hope as well. All to you, and especially to you, Meatwad and Las Cruces and Christina and Agu. Cruising on in on the live. Now, cruising up from there, let's go ahead and talk about a whole nother publisher. That was it for me for Dark Horse. So let's talk about Mad Cave. Mad Cave is bringing me some anticipated reads that I've been looking forward to ever since, not even before New Comic Book Day, but ever since New Comic Book Day, I've been chomping on the bit. And that is Gotcha Man Deathmatch issue number 1. This is a one-shot. I'm old, so it brings back memories of these 70s show that were of yore, and this is kind of a starting of what we were getting when it comes to the whole Power Ranger type stuff, and I don't know, there were so many things that were kind of wrapped us into this, you know, and a popularity due to anime and all this other stuff. That was really the forefront. That is what we have today. So being that they're bringing this as a relaunch into a present day is, well, kind of serendipitous. It just kind of works in today's realm, today's field, and it just is actually a good read. After reading Free Comic Book Day, this was awesome. So I'm looking forward to this relaunch and this one shot in particular. But moving out from that, Gotcha Man Deathmatch issue number 1, we're going to talk about Gotcha Man issue number 1. Now, this is a mini series of, I believe, 5 issues. And this gives us a good taste of Gotcha Man, which I hope is going to be a launch of mini series or an ongoing series down the road. Yeah. So as I made mention about the one shot, which is going to go ahead and give us a good establishment of individuals that are going to go ahead and be main characters and the mainstay of this, hopefully, like I said, ongoing miniseries. Series. I don't know how to say that one, but hopefully we get a slew of miniseries from this that will be ongoing. Sounds better. And that will be, again, in the characters of the one shot that will be moving on into this miniseries that will go ahead and give us an established world that these characters would be playing in. Yeah, it works. So that's why I'm really looking forward to all this, because it just seems like to me this was long overdue, especially with all the launches of all the Dynamite stuff, bringing out all the, all the stuff of yore, all the stuff that I remember growing up with. This is all coming back, and it's just being with the relaunch of new writers with a vigor to bring these characters and these stories to present day, and with the love of these characters, seemingly as much as I want to read these things, I'm so looking forward to Gotcha Man issue number 1. And moving out from Man Cave, now we're going to go to Dynamite. Dynamite is bringing us Sweet Candy Vigilante issue number 3. This is probably one of the funniest books out there as a series that I am presently reading. Sweetie Candy Vigilante brings one of the most sweetest ways of vengeance that is well deserved to those that are all they want to do is cause nastiness and sour sorrow to all. Sweetie Candy Vigilante does her best job giving you a sweet tooth and filling cavities into villains that are well deserved of her vengeance and her. I can't think of anything more campy and punny. So, but what she does is she just takes out all kinds of stupid and individuals that are just trying to do bad to the world. And all she wants to do is, being that she's the daughter of the Candyman, just maintain a goodness and a sweetness that is presently in the world that is frequently overlooked. And to me, that is the whole premise of Sweetie Candy Vigilante. Even though she's taking people out and there's blood and there's gore and there's all kinds of neat characters doing it. You got gummy bears, you got, Hansel and Gretel, and you got all these characters of all these fairy tales that are in here, and in the best way, taking out the vengeance and killing off villains that just is so well deserved and so enjoyable to read that I highly recommend it all. So again, Sweetie Candy Vigilante issue number 3 coming out 6/26/2024. Let's cruise out from the Dynamite side and go over to DC. DC is going to bring us Primer issue number 4. Primer started out as a trade paperback story for all readers. This is a comic book for all. It was adapted and broken down into, I believe it's going to be 5-issue miniseries. And here we are with issue number 4, and I'm thoroughly hooked. I wasn't initially going to buy this thing, and it just kind of caught my eye. And I just thought, no, if I didn't enjoy it, I could always give it away during Halloween, and a bunch of kids will enjoy the story. I don't think that's going to happen. It's not only an enjoyable story for as an adult, but I'm sure as a younger age kid, it will be too. But this thing hooked me right from the beginning, and I can't wait for issue number 4 to come out. So that's why it's pretty high on my list. Primer, a little kid that can with a superhero strength, but just spray cans. I just said can twice, didn't I? Ha, can. birdie. I'm out of my gourd. Moving out from DC and cruising over to Image. Image is bringing us, a list. And this list starts out with Department of Truth, issue number 23. This has been a long time in the coming. Issue 22 is months ago. What the heck? I get that you're busy, and I'm not really bitching. All I'm just saying is this is one of those few stories that I kind of remember what's going on. The biggest thing that I thought was kind of interesting is Lee Harvey seemingly is being twisting his underling's mind, supposedly, into a way that he just bumped it so hard that he's been lying to him the whole time. And that the Russians might be the good guy in this? Huh. Nah. What they done is they've actually got the husband of the underling of Oswald and convinced him to work with them. There is so much stuff going on. It just seems like a modern day Cold War for using the power and will of manifestation to make their will happen, if that makes sense. This, if you're reading this, you totally know what I'm talking about. This is a very odd story. It's a very interesting story, and it's a very confusing story. If you're probably not reading it trade, or if unless this is all that you're reading and you're able to retain it, you're probably getting it. However, it's been some time since the last one is released, and it's probably going to be confusing for all. But that doesn't mean that it isn't something that I'm anticipating to read. When it dropped off at 22, I'm like, what the heck? It can't stop here. It can't stop here. No, really, it can't stop here. I need to know what's going on, especially being that they're utilizing such an integral character to the story that was never really that important until now. So I'm really curious in how they're going to utilize someone's love against them. Issue 23, Department of Truth. By Image, coming out 6/26, 2023. We're going to move out, or 24, moving out from there. We're going to talk about Red Coat, issue number 3. Red Coat is really interesting. This is another one of those tales of a loser that gains superpowers and mortality against their will, and they just kind of shake it off. Don't want to live up to the responsibility and to the duties that come along with this type of power, but at the same point, I think he's kind of forced. I think that's where we're getting to. The other thing is the fact that he runs into, no spoiler here, but runs into Benedict Arnold, and the way Arnold is not only pretty much kind of what I expected, but is over top. Just, oh my God. The personification just cracks me up, and I'm enjoying every moment of it. So again, Red Coat issue number 3 is pretty high for me. Moving out that, we're going to talk about Rook Exodus issue number 3. We're kind of filled with a lot of 3s and a lot of 4s coming up. I'm just saying. But issue number 3 for Red Coat, or for Rook Exodus, we've learned now that on this planet that is now Exodus from, we still have some of the powers that are being able to be utilized by the machine that's allowing the helmets to be able to communicate with these animals. And it seems like without the use of both the machine, the helmets, and the animals, everyone's doomed. The animals, the people, the machine, everything. I'm curious how this ends up I can see how it's an offshoot and how it possibly could hook into, but I'm really curious on how this whole universe links together. So I do get Red Coat. I see where it's going. I'm just curious on how Rook is going to tie in all this. But that's why it's so high for me on my most anticipated reads. So moving out from that, Rook Exodus issue number 3. Let's cruise over and talk about Universal Monsters. The Creature from the Black Lagoon lives. Issue number 3 of 4. I think really what we're seeing in the story, when you break it down and you're not really just looking at the story as a story of surface and you're just kind of just reading it, it's more of a story of obsession. Here's an individual that's just kind of obsessed to go ahead and determined to go ahead and make proof of certain things, and is getting caught up in all this and throwing caution to the wind. It's really interesting where I left off on last that I was reading and where we're going. I'm more than anything else, my curiosity is itching on me on where it's going, not due to the fact that it'll satisfy my curiosity of the story, but how morally it ends and where it takes me. What journey is it really trying to teach me in the story? Because it's well beyond the story itself. And that's why I'm really enjoying this read, is the philosophy, that the overall touching on some of the flaws of humanity that are really entangled into the story. And that's really what I'm getting at. It's so well written, and I'm really enjoying this journey. So that's why Universal Monsters, The Creature from the Black Lagoon lives. Issue number 3 is pretty high for me. Let's move out of that and talk over to about Void Rivals, issue number 10. Okay, let's check this out. I was curious beyond the actual aspect of just seeing the small, I don't know, just passing by almost, and it's just these little tidbits and cameos that we get of the Transformers, how all this tied. Now we're getting an understanding of the energy and technology that is being utilized by both sides of these people have been kept apart for so long that we're, in my opinion, is more than likely because they're going to end up finding out the true meaning behind that of the energy, the source, and how the technology came to be, and that they've been lying to the people all along, and they want to keep it that way because it actually works out for best for both people. That when they end up finding out all this information, ah, I think it's really here in this 10. 10 is going to go ahead and give us a lot of information on where this energy came from, how it transpired, who's been working on it, who's behind all this secretive stuff and keeping these people apart beyond the two or three individuals that we've been seeing kind of running and pulling on strings. There's more to it, and we're getting behind it. And I think it's coming out right here in Void Rivals issue number 10. I'm just saying, and I can't wait. It was almost my most anticipated read. Just missed out. But moving on from that, we're going to talk about World Tree issue number 11. This is another one, unfortunately, that sometimes it's not always on the regular as far as its release. Much like old people and they need fruit juice, this one tends to be irregular and it doesn't quite come out all the time. But it doesn't mean that it isn't enjoyable. Yeah, it all worked out the same way. World Tree, unfortunately, is not a piece of poo. It's actually a really good read, and it is something that's really enjoyable beyond a piece of poo that has been really scary. It's almost Black Mirror style written, and you get these hints of possibilities. You can see how these things can actually transpire in some degree, and that's why it's been scaring the hell out of me, knowing that between forms of hypnosis and suggestion and internet and just all these other different ways, tonalities, there's so many different things that can go ahead and make people do things that, not in its entirety, but giving suggestions to go ahead and maybe buy a Coke, go out and spend all the money and forget about to pay rent because they want to gamble or whatever. Those things are not far-fetched, and they're not conspiracy theories. So that's why, again, World Tree issue number 11 has been really intriguing and scary because you can see how there's elements of truth behind this total fictional story, and it's just freaking scary. But I can't stop reading it. That's why I'm enjoying it. So that's why World Tree issue number 11. I can't wait for me. Moving out from the Image. Finally, I know it's a list. Let's cruise over to Marvel because it's still another list. Talking about Blood Hunt, Red Band, issue number 4 of 5. This has been a solid story, and I challenge most people out there listening to this or not. How would you do that? To go ahead and find many that are really ripping apart Blood Hunt. If they're reading it, they're probably saying, it's okay. Or they're probably saying, I'm enjoying it. They're really more times than not downplaying the fact that everyone is pretty much reading this, and it's not a bad story. It doesn't even matter if you're reading the tie-ins. I've yet to hear one person tell me that any of the tie-ins were horrible. And if they're reading the main story, they do have some form of influence and tie-in to the main story. They're just not standalone things that have no rhyme, no reason. They all do. And there are a couple that I'm not getting, but they still touch on, well, that's why they did that. And that's why they did that in other stories. I'm digging Blood Hunt and Red Band. The fact that they're getting so hoary, gory all over this and blood splattering everywhere. And every time I think, oh, I can only do this or they can only do that, they keep challenging my notions of what I believe is going to happen. I think that's why I'm enjoying it so much. So Red Band issue number 4 is way up there on my most anticipated reads. Moving out from that, we're going to talk about giant size little Marvels. Have you seen how cute these guys are? They're giant sized little Marvels. I'm buying it for the cuteness. Seriously. I'm not expecting anything to really change my life out of this book, but I can't wait to get my hands on it. As cute as it is, as awesome as I expect it to be, I can't wait Maybe not for you, but definitely for me. Let's talk about something else that might be for you. Moving out from giant size, Little Marvels are in issue number 1, probably a one shot. It's only going to come out on 6/26/2024. Let's talk about Wolverine issue number 2. I remember when this character was first introduced, and most people were saying it is a flash in a pan. Most people that are reading this are enjoying this, kind of like I was talking about before. It's not at all what I think most people were expecting, and being that there is characters that they're seeing, and some of them are people that I've been talked to are like, really? I think issue 2 is going to go ahead and solve a lot of that really type of stuff. It wasn't that they were disappointed. It was just that I think they were caught a little sideways and didn't expect it and want to see how this all flushes out. Me too. Seriously. So that's why Wolverine issue number 2 is up there on my list for me. I've been enjoying it thoroughly. All right, let's talk about Black Cat. All right, Jackpot Black Cat issue number 4. The reason why I want to say Black Cat is, all right, look, Black Cat owes Mary Jane a serious explanation, a serious apology, and I don't know how the relationship is going to work out after that. So I'm curious on how this writing is going to end and where their relationship's going to be after. Because as far as I read this stuff, there's no going back. Things are forever going to change. And I mean, goddamn, Felicia, what the hell? What's going on? Really? It's like hanging out Mary Jane to dry. Just saying. So again, I'm a little angry. The hell, Felicia. So Jackpot Black Cat issue number 4 is up there on my reads for me. Celeste Proffman, you're doing a great job writing. Keep it up because wow, you got me worked up. Just saying. I'm angered. And I'm digging it. All right, moving up from Jackpot. Black Cat issue number 4. Let's talk about Midnight Suns. Blood Hunt issue number 2. I've been saying this is all about Bree, and now they're hunting Blade. What the heck? Dude, what's going on? I mean, all through this whole thing, it's been all about you. And what? There has to be some. Can't wait for it. Good job on this, everybody. Again, I'm thoroughly enjoying this, and Midnight Suns, and the fact that Wolverine is really taken back on what's going on, and his questions are much like myself. I want things answered. Something doesn't smell right, as even Logan was saying, and I need to sniff out the real reason what's going on, and that's why again, this Midnight Suns Blood Hunt issue number 2 is up there on my list for me. Moving out that, I'm going to talk about something else because my list is just massive. Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 4. I might have said this on last week along with Farrell, issue number 4, that I thought was also coming out last week. Apologize if I gave you wrong information. I don't even know when Farrell's coming out, so I'm sorry about that. And maybe next week. I haven't even looked. But as far as me saying from now, it's coming out this week. I promise. I swear. I already checked, double checked, triple checked. My pre-orders coming in. I got one hell of a shop. I know they're there. Saw them. Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 4 is coming out tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to this. The way these two have been working together has just been awesome, and I'm enjoying it from day one, and I can't wait to get to issue number 4. Moving out from that, we're going to talk about, well, Superior Spider-Man, issue number 8. All right, Doc Ock, what the heck? The fact that you've been messing with Spider-Boy the way you are, not cool. All right? Seriously, uncool the way you're messing with Bailey. That little kid Briggs does not deserve your shit, and he's going through enough. And the fact that you go ahead and admit, what the heck, Doc Ock, you owe explanations. You and Felicia need to be hanging out together, I think, and get your shit together because the explanations, things are need to be answered. And I'm hoping issue number 8 of Superior Spider-Man gives me those things and some questions that are just eliminated because seriously, I've been digging the story and I'm again worked up. I'm getting worked up. Moving out from Superior Spider-Man issue number 8 and getting all worked up because the Spider-Boy is just getting messed with the wrong way. Let's go ahead and talk about Symbiote Spider-Man 2099 issue number 4. Told you there's a lot of 4s of 5. This has been awesome. I didn't know that it actually was taken off from, I believe it's Spider-Man 2099 issue number 33 or 34 from like 1994. I didn't realize that. I thought it was kind of a standalone story, even though it does does read like one standalone story, and it's been thoroughly enjoyable. There's another one, Miguel. I don't think you're ever going to be the same. I think this is just going to forever change you, and I'm enjoying this read. I'm curious how you're going to come out on the back end of this because, like I said, that's it. That's it. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea who you're going to be after this, but I am curious, and I've been enjoying this. Again, it's another one of those roller coaster rides that once I put down the bar, I've been enjoying since that moment it took off. So again, Simian Spider-Man 2099 has been an awesome read, and number 4 comes out tomorrow, and I'm hoping you're picking that up. X-Men. Let's talk about a little bit of X-Men. X-Men Blood Hunt Magic, issue number 1. I wasn't going to pick this up, but have you seen these covers? And I think it actually ties in kind of heavily. It's been leading towards us seemingly. So we've yet to see there's been an absence of X-Men in this thing. So maybe Magic's going to be the representative on the X-Men's behalf for this story moving on. I'm curious. I can't wait to see. So that's why X-Men Blood Hunt Magic issue number 1 is up there on the list for me. Moving on from that, let's go ahead and talk about Thanos Annual issue number 1. There's another one almost made my Blue Light Special. The reason being is this starts the whole multiple issue series with Thanos on a tyrant going to go ahead and try to get those stones. Once again, difference is all those stones are actually in bodies, like Star and such. So the fact that he has to somehow rip these things out of these people. Okay, do we got another Blood Hunt situation going on? Another red band situation going on? Because it seems like all these red bands are probably going to end to the year, meaning they might not be Blood Hunt related, but we're going to get some gore all the way down the road into the end of the year. And are we going to see that with Thanos? I sure hope so. What we're going to get is a multiple run of Thanos going on a hunt, looking for these gems, and he's going to be ripping people apart to get it, and he don't care, and it starts right here. Thanos Annual issue number 1 is way up there on my most anticipated reads. But hey, really? We got to move out from Marvel. Seriously. And let's talk about our last publisher of the night. That is Boom Studios. Kabam. Animal Pound issue number 4 or 5 is going to be probably one of the best interpretations of Orwellian tales that I've read personally. Animal Pound is awesome, and it really tugs at my emotions and is a great representation of what we had to go through, our forefathers, as far as the development of this country and as far as an understanding of what had to be addressed. I mean, it's interesting as it is told through the animals, but these are far no less circumstances that have no less gravity. These animals are going to be taken out internally. Civil war is going to happen, and you see it coming, and it's mostly because individuals don't want to adhere to the laws of being. Everyone believes that they can go ahead and supersede because they're the exception to the rule. These are the Orwellian tales. These are the tales of caution, and it's so cool to see it told in such an interesting way. I've been really enjoying this read, not just because I do enjoy the original tale and enjoy what we were initially founded on and praise the original Constitution in which that we were founded on, but in the fact that we get to see it put in such different ways, and the fact that we, meaning humans, are also part of the overall villain aspect just offers a new element to the tale that is something that leaves any individual to look introspectively that has that ability to do so. So that's why for me, this story has been way up there as far as an enjoyable read for me. But moving out from Animal Pound, issue number 4 of 5, let's talk about Grimm, issue number 18. This has been probably one of the most enjoyable ongoing series that I had the pleasure to read from any publisher. It's been really unique, really different, and really enjoyable because of its nature. The fact that we're following around a reluctant individual to take upon the responsibilities of the Grim Reaper and having to find out the meaning, the reasoning, and everything behind all this, and dealing aspects on both heaven, hell, and the inner conflicts of both sides, and all these other dealings that are going on for whatever reasons, usually for personal gain. It's been awesome. Seriously, it goes ahead and goes back to like kind of what I was talking about the other issue of the morality and introspection that it does not necessarily offered by other publishers stories that are out presently right now. And it's just nothing against any publisher or any writer. It's just that presently what's out there is limited on these type of tales. So I think I just kind of gravitate to them. I don't know. I'm weird that way. But in that regard, I've been really enjoying this series because every time when I really think that I understand what's going on and I finally follow what's going on, I can sit back and enjoy and kind of just marinate in what I've read, and it hits me in a different angle. Sometimes in an ethical or moral or whatever. It just allows me to go ahead and introspectively appreciate some of the things that are written into the story beyond the story itself. You know, there's a lot of symbols and metaphors and a lot of stuff that we read. Not necessarily do we pick up on them, but we have the opportunities to go ahead and enjoy the read for a little bit more than the surface of what it is. Sometimes we get these little nuances and it just makes it that much more. Just saying. But hey, let's sink our teeth into something that's real, and the real is this week's Blue Light Special. And this week's Blue Light Special is Rare Flavors, issue number 6 of 6. Rom V has done a very unique story and a very enjoyable one at that. This is a story that allows us to take a journey, not only with an individual that is supposed to be some type of demon, but he's taken on an individual to go ahead and tell the story, much like a journalist would, but someone that supersedes the standard journalism character that can appreciate the monster beyond the monster that he sees. And he takes it upon himself to follow this individual on this journey to tell a tale that the world needs to hear. And not only needs to hear it to better themselves from the words of a monster that we can do better, but it also allows us to understand that it's very unique that we have the ability to read a story and be able to see ourselves sometimes in the journey and be able to, if nothing else, accompany the individuals on this journey as if we're part of it, part of the caravan, if you will, especially tied into this type of story. Even though our contribution is relatively none, if any, nothing more than turning a page and reading. But that doesn't seem like we're excluded in this. And how I mean is when the author is talking to us in the story that he's telling, he doesn't exclude us or even treat us necessarily as just the audience, but he includes us by allowing us to take part by giving us a recipe in each individual issue. So as we're even reading, we're also reading ingredients that we can be preparing to go ahead and make a meal for later on. If you're reading this in the morning, I'm just saying. It's been unique as a story, not only as a, I guess, I don't know, some type of gimmick to put in there as a, you know, a meal to put in there and with all the ingredients, all the preparations and all the full on recipe to do so. But is it in my opinion, it just allows everyone to understand that we like ingredients and those in which that we surround ourselves are the stew, are the chili that we have in our life. And if we allow ourselves to go ahead and appreciate that and marinate in that, it boasts a great meal for all because we get to then exchange ideas and understandings and tolerances that allow us to be better not only for each other but for ourselves, which in turn is better for each other and the world. Didn't necessarily try to sing kumbaya, but all I'm saying is Rare Flavors, issue number 6, is more than just a story. It's a flavor. And that flavor is not only hot and spicy, but it's probably one of the best in New Comic Book Day. And that's it for me, Entropy. You stay well. Until next time. Bye.